I want to speak this morning on dealing with strange gods. Dealing with strange gods. Give the Lord praise and have your seat. The story that we just read now is the story of a man. It's a story of a man by name Jacob. Jacob was the son of Isaac. If you remember very well that there was a battle and a contention between who was going to lead, because there was a prophecy already given that the elder brother will serve the younger, and everything went the way it went until Jacob took the blessing. But you will notice that a man that carried the blessing, his life never reflected the blessing that he carried until a certain season of his life. A man that carried the blessing was in struggles, suffering and battling until a certain day came before his story changed. And we began to ask ourselves the questions: why will somebody be blessed? Pronouncements were made, words were spoken over him for him to be great, and yet his life did not resemble the words that were spoken. I pray for somebody here today in the name of Jesus. Whatever is fighting the blessing of God on your life catches fire today. Jacob carried the blessing of Esau, and Esau said, from that day I will kill Jacob. So Jacob had to run to the house of Laban, thinking that he will find refuge, because Laban was the brother of Rebekah. So Laban was Jacob's uncle. He ran into the house of his uncle thinking that he might find refuge, never knowing that where he has entered is the real place where the devil was waiting for him. He never knew that Laban was a native doctor. It is not everywhere you see human beings that they are actually human beings. Some human beings are portals into spiritual realms. Some human beings are open doors into demonic kingdoms. Some human beings are transitions between the earthly realm and the spiritual zone. When Jacob left the house of his father and came to the house of his uncle, he thought that he will find refuge there. He never knew that the man that was there was serving a strange God, and by the time he entered, his destiny will be implicated. So many of us, our destinies have been implicated by reason of the contacts that we have made in life, the people that we have met, the men and the women that we have associated with, unknowing to us that these people were connected to a strange God. The Bible, every time we read the Bible, we will say that this guy Samson, his head was shaved and his eyes was removed. We thought that it was just because of the weakness of Samson. It was not only his weakness, there was an empowerment given to Delilah by Dagon, the god of the Philistine. Because how do I know? When they finally arrested Samson, they went and offered sacrifice to Dagon and say, our God has delivered our enemy into our hand. So all this time that they were looking for Samson to kill him, there was a God that was working in the background. You see people in the physical, but in the spirit there is a God. Behind their personality there is a divinity, there is an entity that is empowering them and giving them grace to manipulate. You ask yourself a question: how can Samson, day one, Delilah will ask him, what is your secret? He will tell a lie. Day two, she will come again. She continued until 7 days, and Samson was tired. How can the strongest man in his days be tired? There must have been a spirit behind for him not to rebuke her and say, why did he not even have the time to ask, why are you asking for my secret? What do you want to do with the secret of my power? What I have is enough for safe. She wanted the secret, and Samson didn't have power to drive her away. He had power to carry the gate of the city, but could not carry Delilah out, because there was a spirit behind Delilah. There was a God behind our operation. I speak to somebody here. Every agent of the devil around your life, they expire by fire. Say, they expire by fire. They expire by fire. Somebody shout fire. There was a strange God. So the day they captured Samson, they went and offered sacrifice to Dagon and said, thank you because you have delivered our enemy into our hand. I thought it was Delilah that saw Samson. How come they are giving thanksgiving to a God and say that you are the one who delivers? So Delilah was not just a prostitute. Delilah was a spirit. It was a portal. It was the representative of the altar of Dagon. It was the representative of the shrine of Dagon. So there are men that you meet in life, you think they are human beings, but they are portals to demonic realm. Have you not heard a story that they gave somebody money, and from that day he began hearing voices in his life until he ran mad? Have you not heard? Because the man that gave him that money was not a normal human being. He was an agent of the devil on assignment, carrying money in his hand, and you will think it's all about the money. No, it's about the spirit of the one that came. So not every human being you see is a human being. There are strange gods behind men. There are strange gods behind people. There are strange powers behind human beings. That's why as a child of God, you must be spiritual in the world that you live. There are things that you do, there are places you go to, there are human beings you encounter, and your life takes a different direction altogether. When Jacob ran into Laban's house, because at least he's my uncle, when I get to my uncle's house, at least he will protect me. When Jacob arrived, Laban said, welcome, bro. And for the next 21 years Jacob was there. Laban devised all strategies possible so that Jacob will not leave. Do you know why? Because Satan looks at people and he sees what they carry, and he wants to exploit it to propagate his agenda. He wants to exploit their gift to expand his kingdom. So when Jacob was working for Laban and Laban was prospering, he never knew that he was prospering the priest of a shrine. He didn't want to let him go. That's why on the first you see him manipulating him, collecting his wages, just strategies to keep him there. Satan doesn't want to let you go because he knows what you carry. Why is it that many singers are desired by the devil? Because he wants to exploit their gift to expand the influence of his kingdom. Are you still with me or you are gone? You wonder why in Babylon there were kings that do not know God, yet they had prophets in the palace. Why are they keeping prophets when they don't know God? Because they know that with the grace that is on this man, we are preserved from certain things. Daniel was the head over the magicians. A man has magicians, he employs a prophet to take care of them, because they understand they are exploiting their gifts. And one thing about Satan is that they are able to see the stars of men. When Jesus was born, the Bible said the wise men stood from the east, like Ethiopia, and saw the star of Jesus and traveled for days to come see him. And when we study, when you do a background story, you discover that those wise men were actually not really wise men as we think. They were astrologers. They were men that manipulate stars. They study the stars of people and control it. So when Jesus was born, they saw a star appear, and the star was not like the normal stars they have been manipulated. They tried to manipulate the star, it did not go. They tried to manipulate, it did not go. They said, what type of star is this that we cannot manipulate? Let us go and see who has it. That's why they came. If not because angels intervene, they will have killed Jesus. So while they're on their way, an angel appears and says, hey, Satan can see the stars of people. He can see the stars of men. He can look at you and know exactly what will become. So they start devising strategies to make sure that you don't arrive. Strategies to make sure you don't arrive. So Jacob was with Laban. He labored until finally he had to run away from Laban.